Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Secrets to a Successful Commercial Book. My name is Anae Agostini. I'm CEO at CID Insurance Programs, and we're a small wholesaler here out of San Diego. But we write business in 14 states, so hopefully we'll be able to provide you some good information on how to build your commercial book. Let's get the logistics out of the way. All participants will be defaulted to mute, but of course you'll be able to hear. And your questions are very important to us, so please post them in the chat room at any time, and we'll stop throughout as they come in and answer the questions for you. There'll be a short survey that pops up after the webinar. We really want your feedback, so we appreciate you letting us know how we're doing and any suggestions for future webinars. So what are we going to do today? What are we going to talk about? We want to better understand how to manage your commercial book, and that there's an art to that, and systems are very important. What is the secret to building a stable commercial book? Well, there are some, and again, I go back, it's going to be about some systems that I'm going to share with you that create order in your agency that can follow a structure. How do you manage commercial renewals and new business effectively? That's really important as well, and we're going to talk about that. That's one of the keys to a successful book. So let's start with the balancing act. So where are you top heavy? That's an interesting dynamic, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it depends on what class, what type of policies that you're writing the most of. Obviously, you can see I've got a triangle here. You've got personal lines, you've got life, and you've got commercial lines. That's usually the heart and soul of the agency. And there is a balance that's needed. Most of the time, I find that smaller agencies are very heavy on personal lines because that's how they started, and they were not necessarily easy. They were not able to easily build the commercial lines because when you move from personal lines to commercial, it's much more challenging because personal lines is pretty vanilla. You've got boilerplate policy forms, and everyone needs the same coverages. But when it gets to commercial, you're talking about different classes of business. So you want it. So that's that challenge. Is usually it's personal lines top heavy, and the challenge is what we're going to be talking about is moving you towards a more balanced book of commercial, building that commercial book. So commercial insurance, and that's that challenge of balancing out your book. So they are, as I mentioned, commercial insurance, the needs are different for every type of business. That's what makes it challenging, is because you have to learn to write insurance for a lot of different classes of business, and to learn to know what business to go after that is going to stay on the books, that is not going to be moving on you for $50 every time you get it. So that's going to be an important part of what we're talking about today. And then how do you professionally propose commercial insurance? That again is a really important aspect, and it's even more important in this day and age with all the COVID issues that we're dealing with, because you can't go see someone in person. I'll talk more about this later. And then balancing the new business and renewals is a challenge that needs to be addressed and a system created so that you have a balance there. So let's get into some of the systems that help create structure that can make that sales equation become a successful commercial book outcome. This is really basic. It's been around for a long time, but the key to this is understanding that all three parts are separate. You need to be ex-dating, meaning looking for new business, and ex-dating it, meaning you're coming up with an expiration date and a system to follow up when that day comes. Then you want to be very, very engaged in doing presentations ongoing so that you're working your ex dates and doing a presentation. And then people fail because they don't close. So closing is what really is going to ultimately get you that sale. Okay, now I'm going to break that sales equation apart, and we're going to look at it from a you know break it out and look at each section and the importance of each section. So new business profiling. You want to have weekly sales goals for yourself, and then you want to put your marketing plan into to work. You want to make contact with business owners. You're going to have to be a little more creative now with the changes with COVID. So on making that contact with business owners, and then the X dates that you're developing with that which is an expiration date for a potential to quote the commercial insurance for a new client is you want to develop and manage your profiles by a 10-week marketing schedule. So which means that you would be 10 weeks, you would be working at 10 weeks prior to the expiration date in order to give time to build a relationship with that client and provide that proposal presentation to them in a timely manner. Renewal profiling. You want to be also reviewing each renewal to ensure adequate coverage. Entertain, and this is an area that many agencies fall down on, and it's easy to happen. But this is the key to keeping your client and increasing your premium potentially with that client, which increases your commercial book of business. So renewing each renewal to ensure adequate coverage. I can't say enough about that because it's the coverage you don't offer that gets you in trouble with an E&O allegation when the insured has a loss that's not covered. You want to entertain placement with other carriers. Don't just renew that policy if there's the potential for a better premium with another carrier. So you must always be on your feet because you will easily lose that renewal if there is enough competition out there that's someone can easily take it from you because you didn't block your markets or you didn't go out and engage in a lower premium. And then renewals, you must make contact with your insureds. That's the most important thing. Usually commercial business doesn't require a lot of contact throughout the year. So it's very important that you make contact with them during the policy period or at the renewal, excuse me. Okay, so that was X day. Now let's talk about the presentation for new business and renewals because it's pretty much the same. It's important to understand that just because the guidelines say no, it doesn't mean your underwriter won't say yes. Okay, and that is over time is really when you build a great storyline about a risk that the carrier can say yes to. And that does come with a little bit of experience. Our underwriters a lot of times can give you some assistance with that, what we would need to know in order for a carrier to say yes. But there is gray. It's not all black and white. So it's important to understand, and it's very helpful for us to have. We work with a lot of underwriters that see gray, so they are open to saying yes if someone presents a good description of the risk that we're trying to write. Know your risk profile. So you need to really need to understand the risk that you're looking to insure. You need to look at their website. You really need to get a full description of the type of work that they're performing or services that they're performing. And you want to, as I said, build a storyline. So I've already, you want to give them a reason to make why it makes sense to write the business, and then have documentation to support it. So, and sometimes that requires something in writing from the potential insurer. So, in that presentation, you have to know who you're dealing with, and every individual is different to some degree, but there are 4 personalities here that you definitely probably are familiar with, and there's everything from a Rambo who's aggressive and assertive, shoots from the hip, and generally he wants to make the call. So you're going to have to give him 3 proposals to compare, right? Because he wants to be in charge. Then you've got Anderson Cooper. He's analytical, and he's going to question everything, and he needs time to think about it. So, like, leave him 2 proposals with comparisons and informational material, and then make a return appointment because he's going to want to look everything over. He's going to want to have a lot of evidence to make his decision on. And then Jimmy Fallon, he's indecisive, wants your opinion on what you think is the best choice, ready to move past the decision if he trusts you, right? So 1 or 2 proposals will work well with this type of personality. And then Kim Kardashian. She is the latest and greatest, and she has the mentality that if someone else is buying it, then so should she. And it's sort of like keeping up with the Joneses, that old phrase. And expect to impress, dress accordingly, use nice linen paper for your presentation. Don't push the sale, coach it, be your friend. So those are just giving you a feel for how you, because that getting to know someone, developing a relationship with them is crucial to this, especially even harder now with COVID. So you have to be sensitive. You have to be a good listener, and then make some decisions on how you're going to make that presentation after being a good listener. Okay. All right. In addition to the presentation, you want a professionally laid out proposal. We use templates. Many years ago, I did what you guys do, which is you retail commercial insurance. We are a wholesaler. We've been doing this for a very long time, and but I use the same system in my with our company as a wholesaler that we did as a retail commercial agency. So it's important. We have templates that we have for all the different types of coverages. Sometimes it's a combination proposal, and that we just go in and it's a Word document, and you pink or red the areas that just need to be filled in for the to create the proposal. We have a lot of them on our website, so please feel free to check that out on our website. They're free to you. Take them, put your logo on them, and make them your own. So that's really important. Do not use the quotes that we send you. You want to give a professional proposal. Make sure to disclose important information such as broker's fees, state taxes, inspection charges, audits, and bind only subject to conditions is very important because you don't want to mislead anyone that they can bind without providing the proper information required. The last, I'm saving exclusions for the last because this is the one that most brokers do not remember to disclose exclusions. You must disclose the exclusions because we all know that the insured will always think that they're insured for everything. And so it's really important. This is where we get caught, where you haven't disclosed what's not covered. And let's turn it around. So for the specific coverage you're proposing, you want to put the exclusions there. But like say you're working renewals, you would want to make sure that you're offering them in some kind of format on the proposal, at least to get a quote for EPL, get a quote for cyber, to get a quote for the things that the coverages that they may not have, but they could easily have a loss with, so that you're at least putting it out there and giving them the option for it to be quoted. Um, and frankly, we use forms that actually have people sign off on the coverage or no coverage. So that's another way that I would recommend. You can see those on our website, and I recommend that you go take a look. And then always include an invoice and a premium financing option if applicable. That is super important. That's how you close. You have to give them something to pay the premium with. So that invoice becomes important. And then be aware of required signatures. That's always a no-brainer. And then, as I mentioned before, people fail the most in this area. You have to close your business. You have to follow up. And you ideally, you need to go make an appointment with a client to present and close. Again, it's COVID time, and so it really is going to, some clients will let you come with a, with a mask. Some clients will, you may want to invest in Zoom so that you can do an actual, face-to-face, but not, via Zoom. That's probably the most ideal way to make your presentation. And then be sure to address the coverage benefits versus premium, because if they're just going to deal with premium, then your chances are reduced, because you may be offering better coverage than the other policy or the other broker. Know your value-added propositions. What's the value does your agency bring to the table? You need to ask for the business, and then obtain signatures and payment, and that's how you close it. But you could close, and then again, securing the bind is one more thing. It's that subject to bind conditions that have to be handled. And if you can get it all done in that close, ideally that's the best way to do it. But you need to make sure that you get all of your subject to items from your insured in order to make that bind occur with the underwriter. And in our case, if you were working with us, for our underwriters have to have all of the subject to information, turned in at the time of the bind. We have we have carriers that will allow a certain amount of time, maybe 5 days for an application, but in general, we really look to get it all done in one fell swoop, where you're not spending lots of wasted time trying to go back and forth, back and forth. We find it's better if you do it all at once. That's a systematic way of doing it. Application, loss runs, terrorism form, any state required documents for non-admitted business. Usually that's the main subject tos. But if you're going to be processing a finance agreement, that has to be done right away. You can't wait on that. And then you want to ensure that the policy is issued and paid in your agency. So this is a simple expiration type of list. We have a template if you're like maybe a farmer's agent and you need to figure out how to run your outside book of business for renewals and new business, which is, you need to make sure the policy gets issued, because when the policy gets issued, most of the time you're going to get paid. So both of those things are important, and in order for your agency to function efficiently and ensure that you're receiving your commissions. And then forward proof of insurance to your new client and thank them for the business. That's securing the bind. There's another tool. So renewals, we run our renewals by month. So we'll run each month, and you're looking at 5. You're looking and they're in chronological order, so that you're constantly working probably 4 months at a time, 3 to 4 months at a time, because you're working. We work 60 days out, so you're working forward, and then obviously you're working the current month that you're in, and you could be working the tail end of another month before. So that's how you can get to 4 months. So that's renewals. You must run them at monthly. Run a report that's monthly. And again, we've got an Excel spreadsheet system that you can download that has all the months of the year, and we've made it really easy for those of you that don't have an agency management system for your outside book. Go to our website and check that out, or email us if you're unable to locate it. But new business is a very different beast. New business needs to be monitored by the week. It gives you 52 start dates. If you wait a month to check out how you're doing with new business, you've waited way too long, because by the time you get your hands around it, it's your 45 days from the first of that month. And it's just not, you're not tracking it in a timely manner. It's hard to turn things around when you realize, oh, I don't have any production for the month of January or whatever it is. So that becomes a very important thing, managed by the week. And you can set up your Outlook, to show the weeks, so you can see what week you're in, and you can set up an Excel spreadsheet that will track your production, so you know how you're doing with that. Or you could, and because you're looking to get it issued and paid, definitely you can maybe even combine the renewal list with new business and include some separate categories that you can track all of this with. But that's super important. Managing your commercial book. So, new business. You have to be systematic. You have to have a marketing strategy. Waiting for the phone to ring is not going to be ringing off the hook in COVID times, and it's usually not the type of business that you want. That's healthy and stable business for your commercial book. So you need to have a strategy that is outgoing, where you're actually reaching out to the type of businesses that you would like to build a commercial book with. Then you need to manage those commercial profiles. So again, that's that X dating system. You need to be able to create a profile on your potential X dates that you can work 10 weeks out as you go forward. Follow that sales equation, meaning, and easiest way I can say it is, you need to be X dating, and so that you can be making regular presentations, and you can be closing those presentations to get to your sales. But you have to work all three parts of it in order to be successful. Set your weekly goals for premium and PIF growth. You want to build you want to know how much new business premium you want to grow. Because no matter how good you are, your renewals will fall off for people going out of business, people selling their business. I mean, it naturally takes place. So the key here is you have to be building new business premium, and you need to show policy in force, PIF, policy in force growth, meaning that you're going to be gaining more new business than you are going to be losing in renewals, so that your book grows over time. It doesn't have to be fast growth, it just needs to be steady growth over time, that PIF grows. That's how you build your commercial book. And then you can increase your fee income with broker fees, and there are premium finance companies that will actually pay you a percentage of the financed amount, financed premium, and that's additional income to your agency. Okay, managing your commercial book. Let's talk renewal business. Treat every renewal like new business. That's probably the key to the whole thing. Do not take your renewals for granted, even if they're direct bill and they're going to be auto renewed. Do not take them for granted. Contact that insured. You want to manage by report. The only way you're going to be able to treat that renewal like new business is if you're managing from a report and you're starting 60 days early, to gather any new information that you need from the insured. You could certainly count on us to be out to you 60 days in advance of any renewals you have with us, and then we do a 10-day follow-up, 30-day 60 days to get any information needed in order to provide the renewal. You want to provide that renewal at 30 days, and then do a follow-up at 10. That's our system. You need to create your own system, and you can certainly use ours because you can count on us to be reminding you at those three various points. Know your retention and lapse ratios. How much business are you losing in your renewal? Right? That's an equation that you want to be able to calculate. So, and it's usually done by how much premium you've lost, right? Versus how much premium you had, and it's usually done by month. So you're going to take a look, and you can do a year-to-date total, but you want to check it monthly, and then have a year-to-date running total. And you should be retaining somewhere between 90 to 95%. That's ideal retention. And then make sure that your new business, far outweighs that. And lapse becomes a little bit scarier. You want to make sure you're retaining those policies. You don't want to be writing new business, and then it falls off the book before you get to the 13th month, right? That would mean it didn't make the renewal. So first-year policies falling off are the worst for your agency, because it means that the business really wasn't long-term stable business. And so you really have to take a look at that and see if you can see a class of business or something that is causing it. So the analysis is important. And then manage policy audits. Those can be really tricky. Those on renewals can just totally lose a client because they just get so frustrated with an audit where we don't have the payroll, we don't have the revenues accurate, and it's rated generated by that. That can really upset an insured more than anything. And then lastly, how do you keep some new business going? Ask for referrals, because if your insured is happy with you, then and you never know. They may not know in that moment that they have a referral, but they'll think of something later, and you just want to have that programmed in the back of their head. So managing your commercial book service is another key area. You can't spend all your time on service. It's a lot. That's the easiest thing for people to do, and so your renewals and your new business can suffer. But you, especially if you're a small agency, you want to duplicate yourself. You don't want to make them an assistant or a part-time person. All employees are part of the sales equation. They're all part of, creating interest in new business for the company and retaining renewals. You want to work smart. As I mentioned, have forms and templates. You can even have time management sheets, especially for newer employees. That's a really great way to see where they're spending their time. Use good judgment and problem-solving skills. That's really important to maintain your clients, because we don't want them too upset, or they'll leave. Present and prevent cancellations. Implement a payment follow-up system. That's another area to pay attention to. If you're a farmer's agent, then you may not have, you're relying on farmers for their follow-up system. You will need to create your own follow-up system to make sure that people make their payments. And if you need help with that, please reach out to myself and we can get you our system that we use that we brought over from when we were a retailer many years ago. And then cross-selling, that's super important. You want to make sure that you're proposing all the coverage that the insured needs, and they've broken everything out onto different policy forms now, for various types of coverage. So you have to make sure that you're presenting everything that they potentially need. So that is my tools of wisdom on how to build your commercial book. And we would love to do business with you. For those of you that are already doing business with us, we thank you for your business. Those not, we'd love for you to try us out. Our website, we just redid our website, and it's really easy to use. People love it. So broker tools, you can see is the red box up there. That's where you'll find a lot of the marketing tools and the templates that I've been talking about. And so that would be a great place. Send your applications to submissions@cidinsurance.com. And then we also have a phone and web quote system that you can see there on our homepage. You can click right on and do. Thank you for your time today. You'll see our underwriters on the bottom here, and just a brief outline of the things that they manage. So you'll find out a lot more. Our applications and marketing tools are on our website, and they're user friendly and customizable. So please feel free to reach out to any of our underwriters and submit an application for business. We're very timely with our quotes, and our underwriters are very knowledgeable. And again, thank you for your time today. We look forward to doing some business with you. Take care.